problem with half of these things is you're probably not even aware of the issues it's causing. If you're still unknowingly doing these to your natural hair, it'll be very, very hard for you guys to reach your hair goals. We're going to be going over 7 main points of why your hair probably isn't growing. But let's get straight into it. Number 1, you're probably slicking back your hair way too often. The tension from constantly tying your hair very tightly causes really bad tension damage to your strands, because most of the time for you to get that really slick style, you need to tightly tie your hair. The gel that you're using to slick back your hair is probably causing your hair to dry up and become even more susceptible to being damaged. Also, the brushes that you typically need to use to do slick backs are super abrasive, and with the high amount of tension and the gel drying up your hair, this can cause really bad split ends and inevitably causes hair breakage. This is why I hardly use gel in any of my hairstyles or slick back my hair very often. When I used to slick back my hair a lot a couple of years ago, I got really bad crown damage that I'm still recovering from, and there's tiny strands of hair that just stick up. No matter what I do, it just won't grow back right now. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix that. So if you can, before it gets any worse, I would recommend not doing it as often, just to save yourself the trouble. Number 2, you're using products with ingredients that are ruining your hair. You'd be really surprised how many hair products actually have isopropyl alcohol in it, which is basically rubbing alcohol. Like the stuff you use to clean this stuff, they put it inside of our hair products so that it feels like our hair is really moisturized and soft, and then it dries up and it feels like we need to use more. That's the main reason why people be putting that stuff into leave-in conditioners and normal deep conditioners, because they want you to use more of the product and feel like the product works, and then your hair just sucks up all the product or something. They're trying to lie to you, essentially. Please don't get isopropyl alcohol mixed up with moisturizing alcohols. They're completely different things. Like alcohol denat or something like that, I believe is a moisturizing alcohol. Let me look on here. Stearyl alcohol, I think that's how you say it, is also a moisturizing alcohol. Please don't get moisturizing alcohols mixed with isopropyl alcohol. Just because it has the word alcohol in it doesn't mean it's a bad alcohol. It could actually be one that's really beneficial to your hair. You really need to check every hair product before you even decide to buy it. That's what I do when I go into the hair store. I never blindly buy an item without checking to see if it has rubbing alcohol in it first. I personally can usually tell when there's rubbing alcohol in a product because it feels like my hair is really soft at first, and then my hair becomes bone dry 10 minutes after it dries up, and it feels like absolutely nothing was applied to my hair. If your hair's ever felt like that after using your products, you should probably check your products and see what it has in the ingredient list. It's better to steer away from hair products that aren't meant for curly, coily hair types, because a lot of the straight, wavy hair products tend to put more damaging stuff in straight and wavy hair products because they don't usually check what the ingredients are in their product. And because curly hair needs so much moisture, the people that typically make hair products for curly, coily hair types know what not to put in there, because we tend to check our ingredients more and they don't want a can-to situation. If you guys forgot, that's exactly what Cantu used to do when they had their first formula of leave-in. They had isopropyl alcohol in it and they got canceled for it. So be very wary of that. Number 3 is the climate of the area you live in. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I've seen that it's really easy for people with natural hair that live in like Texas or Florida to grow out their hair. And that's because the climate that they live in is more humid and warm, and that's very beneficial for curly, coily hair. If you live in a dry or cool climate, growing out your hair may seem very, very hard because your hair is likely to be a lot more fragile than if you lived in a warmer climate. That's why a lot of naturals use heat while deep conditioning or steaming their hair. It's really beneficial for naturally moisturizing our hair. So if you live in a hot, humid, warm climate, you're in a way better predicament than someone who lives up north, for example. And if you can't change the environment that you're in, which most of us can't, I recommend investing in a hair steamer. Steam your hair after every time you style your hair. And I recommend deep conditioning with heat for at least 30 minutes every wash day. I live in Virginia, so it's kind of a mixture of both. It can get really, really cold or it can get really, really hot. I feel like my hair really does stay stagnant in the wintertime, and my hair flourishes a lot in the summertime, even though I hate the heat. By the way, comment down below if you have done any of these or what you do that's helped you on your natural hair journey. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Number 4, the water from your shower is damaging your hair. If you didn't know, most places have a lot of chemicals in their shower water. It's generally called hard water because it has such harsh chemicals in it. If you look at videos of people that say that they're victims of hard water damage to their hair, then you'll see that they were like balding, thinning, and their hair's coming out in clumps sometimes. Or their hair just ends up really frizzy, really dry, and they can't seem to grow their hair. And it's usually people that move from one city or state to another, and then their hair completely changes, either for the better or the worse. Most of the time, if you're born into those areas and you're used to using hard water, your hair may become accustomed to it, but it can still really hinder your hair growth. But my recommendation, even if your area doesn't have a hard water problem, I highly recommend buying a shower filter. I personally have invested in shower filters for the past 4 years, and I have noticed a big difference in my water quality. I'm not in the worst area for bad water, but I'm not in a good area either. So I wanted to up my wash and go routine by adding in filtered and healthy water. I do really recommend a shower filter for everybody, especially one of the shower filters that have minerals and healthy vitamins and stuff in them that infuses with your water and can help your hair even more. Those are the ones that I personally like to use. It'll take out the bad chemicals and add in some good vitamins and minerals. Number 5, your diet is horrible or you have vitamin deficiencies. Did you know something as seemingly insignificant as an iron problem can cause your hair to fall out? This is how important having the proper amount of vitamins and nutrients in your diet is. I personally have anemia, so I have an iron deficiency. My hair was falling out a little bit when I was at my worst health-wise, and I was eating a bunch of junk food and not actually eating stuff that I should have been eating. When my diet was at its worst, I didn't see more than an inch of hair within 6 to 8 months. And forget iron deficiency, I wasn't drinking enough water. So those in combination just wasn't working for me. I recommend checking in with your doctor to see if you have any deficiencies that may be causing slower hair growth process for you. But if you don't want to do all that, you can just take a multivitamin, which I think everyone should be taking, because I don't really believe anyone's eating the right amount of nutrients they should be eating a day, unless you eat a bunch of like fruits and vegetables and stuff. But I do recommend a multivitamin. If you want to get into the more complex vitamins and supplements you should be taking, I'd really take that up with your doctor first, just to make sure it doesn't cause any adverse effects, because if you take something that you shouldn't be taking, it can actually worsen your situation than make it better, especially if you start mixing supplements together that shouldn't be mixed. So really think about that before you decide to do that, please. For my own choice of supplements, I personally take MSM pills, biotin supplements, fenugreek supplements, cod liver oil supplements, my iron supplement, and a multivitamin. I'm not telling you to copy what I do because it might hurt you, but I'm just telling you what I do. And here's a couple of the obvious stuff that I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know, but I just want to go over just in case you guys are new to this channel. Number 6, please wear your hair in a low maintenance protective style at least 80% of the time, and wear your hair out 20% of the time. Keeping your hair all of the time is not very smart if you want to retain length, especially if you have type 4 hair. If you have type 3 hair, you could probably get away with it, but I still wouldn't recommend wearing it out too often. I'd at least do mini twister braids or something. For type 4 hair, I definitely don't recommend wearing it out more than 80% of the time, or I really don't recommend wearing it out more than 20% of the time, especially if you want to see hair growth. If you just want to enjoy your hair length and whatnot, you can do whatever you want. Specifically for hair growth, I don't recommend wearing it out more than 20% of the time if you want to see significant hair growth over the next couple of years. Also, please wear your bonnet at night. I know a lot of you guys don't want to wear your bonnet. It's very, very vital that you wear your bonnet if you want to grow out your hair, especially if you don't at least have satin sheets, satin pillowcases, because your hair is just going to break off from the cotton and the friction on your bed. Please get into the habit, and eventually I need you to become uncomfortable with not wearing a bonnet when you go to sleep. That's very, very important. You don't want to be comfortable without wearing a bonnet or having some satin something on your hair. Please keep that in mind. Most of you guys know this, but please don't shampoo your hair more than once a week. If you can do it less, that's cool, but I wouldn't recommend doing it less than twice a month, to be honest. But at least wash your hair once a week. Not any more than that, because for type 4 hair, it's really not recommended to wash your hair that often, specifically shampooing. And you can rinse out your hair all you want, but please don't shampoo it more than once a week if you can. It's just gonna dry up your hair. It's just way too harsh for our hair because we don't have any oils on our hair anyways. Unless your hair is super duper oily for some reason, then you feel free to wash it whenever you want, but otherwise please don't do that. Last thing I'm gonna say is please don't do too many blowouts. I used to think just because I wasn't straightening my hair, blowouts wasn't gonna damage my hair, and I probably lost about 6 inches of hair due to blowouts. You can blow dry your hair as much as you want. You can dry it up, you know what I'm saying? Literally blowing out your hair to where it's straight. Like, not drying your hair to where it's in its natural state. I mean blowing it out to where you have like a sleek, like curled blowout. Those destroyed my hair when I was doing those excessively, and I thought that it wasn't the same as straightening. It pretty much is. You use a lot of heat, but I know a lot of people struggle with wanting to see length, and that's exactly my problem and why I dealt with that in the past. If you really want to see a big change in your length, you might have to suck it up and just stop doing blowouts as much as you can. I recommend only doing them maybe once a month if you really need to do them, but if you can cut them out completely, that's great. If you can do them twice a year, preferably, that'd be cool. Blowouts are really not good for your hair because they use an excessive amount of heat, just like flat ironing. So I feel like I've went over a lot of the things that people don't usually go through, and I went over some of the basics. I really hope this helped you guys. Please let me know down in the comments anything else you guys would like to know from me and what you'd like to see on this channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and you can follow all of my socials at BigHeadJustice. But yeah, that's it.